Well, it took exactly one preseason game to prove that box scores can be deceiving. Avs lose to the Dallas Stars 3-2 in Game 1 of the preseason. First off, a couple things here. It's preseason for me too, so sorry if there's a little bit of rust. And two, I don't really care about game results in the preseason. Technically, the Avs have lost their last 5 games in a row, but the only one of those matter is the one from the playoffs last year. 3 rookie tournament losses and a preseason loss do not mean much. With that being said, I'd still like to see the Avs win a game. It's more fun as a fan to watch that. But it's a good time to remind you that the worst Avalanche team in history, that 48-point team, went undefeated in the preseason, so you really can't take much on that front. The reality of this game for the Avalanche is less than half of the dressed players are going to play in the NHL at all this season. Maybe less, depending on how things shake out. It might be less than a third. But that doesn't mean there aren't good things to talk about, and bad things too. First bad thing is penalties. Far too many of them in this game. And I'm not even blaming the reffing here or anything like that. Just way too many penalties for it to be an interesting game. A lot of the time it was super choppy, super broken up, and made worse by the fact that there were 3 different 5-on-3 scenarios in this game. The Avs got 1 and Dallas got 2, and that's how Dallas first got on the board in this game. Dallas working the perimeter on their 5-on-3 here, not doing anything fancy, just waiting for the Avs triangle to fall apart a little bit, and it does as they work it back and forth, back to the top side. They work towards the near boards, and you're going to see Erik Brannstrom start to cheat out looking for that pass back to the circle. Now this is a 5-on-3. You can't cover everything. It's kind of just going to be a disaster inevitably. With 2 guys in front, no one being covered, a shot is going to come through, and with Brannstrom cheating and Steinberg kind of stuck out looking for this far or near circle guy rather, the rebound is just completely uncontested for Colorado, and it's in the back of their net. I actually thought Erik Brannstrom had a pretty good game on the whole of the players in this game. I don't think anyone played great, but defensively, I thought Brannstrom looked good, at least at even strength. He's not really a guy you expect to play 5-on-3, and definitely got a little bit lost in coverage there. It happens. Thankfully, at very least, this game was not a beatdown, so the Avs were able to get that goal back later in the first. Colorado initially with puck possession behind the Stars' net. They're going to lose the puck up the boards here, and it's going to get sent back in by Dallas deep into their own zone. And this is where you see a great play from Nikita Preseason. He's able to keep up and get a stick lift in to force a turnover back and allow the Avs to recontrol it. Now, as he wins the puck battle, the Avs recognize the development. You have TJ Tynan crashing in towards the goal line here, and Matthew Phillips finding the open ice in front of the net. From here, it's a quick bang-bang play to set up an easy goal. For a 7th-round draft pick, Nikita Preseason might have been the Avs' best forward in this game. Sitting next to 2 AHL guys in Phillips and Tynan, he's the one that helped create that play, even if it was a good setup and finish from the other 2. Preseason, set to be an overager in the QMJHL this year, it might make sense to give him an AHL deal and see what he can do at the pro level. While there's not really a realistic path for someone like that to the NHL, you can never say never. People do it every single draft. There are a handful of 7th-rounders that find a way. Preseason a long way from that, but you have to start somewhere. As I said, it might not be the best hockey game in the world, but it does at least appear to be pretty even. With a skill ceiling that definitely isn't fully NHL caliber for these teams, you get some stretches of pretty sloppy hockey. But as I mentioned earlier, lots of penalties. The Avs' own 5-on-3 results in them getting their first lead. The Avs turn at 5-on-3 after maintaining possession down deep behind the goal line. They're able to get things fully set up, and they start looking a little bit like the top guys' Avs power play. They love to abuse the seam pass through the middle. This first time it's Foodie sending it across, but then a pass down in deep to Olsson on the back door gets reset. They work up high, back to Olsson, and this is eventually going to come through back to Ritchie on this seam pass again. And this time Ritchie is going to take that little bit of extra time, try and set up this pass to Magna through a tight little hole here. It's going to try and thread the needle, and while it is an intelligent play, he does not execute it perfectly. He doesn't manage to thread that needle, which is a good thing because it goes off the Stars defender and directly into the net. So, Cal Ritchie technically is credited with that goal, and he scores his first goal in an Avalanche jersey, even if it's preseason and doesn't really count. And to be honest, that's a Dallas Stars player redirecting the puck into his own net. Ritchie was trying to pass that to Megna the whole way. With that being said, I still think it's a good thought from Ritchie. If he doesn't try that pass, the puck doesn't end up in the back of the net, and you saw a lot of that from Ritchie in this game. He definitely has leaned on being a pass-first player, both in the rookie faceoff and in this game, but at very least, he can think the game at an NHL pace, and he sees the ice pretty well. He understands where his teammates are and how to, at least in theory, get the puck to them. Again, execution's not always perfect, pucks are not always getting through, but you can see him looking and finding players at an NHL pace. Honestly, I'm sure he'll get more preseason games, and I would like him to show better than he did in this one, and some of that may be getting opportunities with higher caliber of players down the line. The Avs are able to keep that 2-1 lead through the second period, but pretty early on in the third, mistakes give Dallas the equalizer. The Avs are going to win the possession battle on the far wall here and try and send it back in through their own zone, but the Avs just weren't ready for this. I don't know if this is a incorrect read or if someone is out of position, but this puck goes to nobody over in the far corner, which allows the Stars to pressure on the Avs in the defensive zone still. This goes back to Middleton. Middleton does not have any communication heard here, so he's going to throw this puck in behind his net to try and reverse things again, and that gets completely picked off, and the Avs are in a terrible spot now. They're left with 4 Avs defenders all along the outside, and you have 3 Stars players in the middle of your ice, with the Stars currently in possession behind your net. I think it's safe to say that that is bad, and this one's going to come out front and ultimately end up in the Avs' goal. Look, sometimes you put some AHL players on the ice versus some NHL players, and that's what happens. Pretty big mistake from Keaton Middleton on the turnover, and a puck that Trent Miner probably wants back. That makes it a 2-2 game, and honestly, this third period looked like it was destined for overtime from that point. We all thought it was going to go to overtime, but this game does not make it to overtime. If this were a regular season game, it would have been an extremely tragic way to lose. In the preseason, I think you're just almost happy the game ended. With 12 seconds left, Brannstrom is going to pin this puck in the corner, but he just doesn't get any help. As the Stars players kind of collapse, Megna doesn't really get involved in digging for this puck, and the Stars are able to win it out in this scenario. Even still, as this comes to the near corner, there's 5 seconds left. All you need is to get onto these pucks for, as you'll see, 0.2 more seconds, and this game heads to overtime. Instead, the Avs end up far overcommitting with 3 players deep down in this quadrant of their defensive zone. That leaves nothing out high as this puck gets slid across, and this shot happens to find its way all the way in. Avs just unable to win a puck battle there and saw their structure defensively break down a little bit, and that one goes in, and the game is over with 0.2 seconds left. Again, if this was the regular season, it would be horrible, but in the preseason, whatever. There are not that many NHLers making mistakes there. So, the Avs lose the game, but my big takeaways. Personally, most of the forwards in this game just didn't matter that much. You have guys like Belmar and Kiviranta who probably already have spots locked up. You have someone like Ritchie who looks okay. And some of the best forwards in this game were AHL guys and long-term draft picks. On the defensive side, I think you had Brannstrom probably look the best of the bunch. And again, I thought he looked good, not great. There were a lot of mistakes along the way. But I think he outplayed Oliver Kylington, who was also in this game. So a little step up for Brannstrom in that battle for a defensive spot. And then behind them, too, the best defenseman was probably Sean Behrens. Again, a guy that's a little buried and not going to make the jump to the NHL immediately. But on a night where you also had Jacob McDonald and Callie Rosen in the lineup, I thought Sean Behrens looked better than both of those two. So there could be some good AHL opportunity he's earning here. All right, I guess that's it for preseason game 1. We're getting back into the swing of things here. 5 more preseason games to go. Let's see what comes of them.